Hey yo, what's up guys, it's your boy back again with a new video. I hope you guys enjoy. Today, like we do every Monday, we're going to go through the weekend of footy. We're going to go through the top 3 fantasy performers of each game and then go through how my fantasy team looks. So if you like the content going on my channel, like and subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. So first game of the weekend, we had the Broncos beating the Eels 36-14. The top 3 fantasy performers in this game is Adam Reynolds with 87, Payne Haas having a killer game again, 83, and Sean Lane with 72. Next game, we had the Dragons beating the Seagulls. I didn't really expect this one, 20-6. Top 3 fantasy performers, we had Josh Aloiai with 67, Dylan Walker with 62 off the bench, and Blake Laurie with 56. Next game, we had the Roosters really just running through the Knights, 42-12. Top 3 fantasy performers, we had Teddy with an amazing 88, Connor Watson with 75, and Suwali was 70. Up next, we had the Raiders beating my Wars 26-14 in pretty much a real heartbreaking affair. We started off so well and then just fell away. Top 3 fantasy performers, we had Jamal Fogarty with 76, Josh Papali'i with 73, Joe Tarpane with 64. Next game, we had the Panthers beating the Sharks 20-10. Top 3 fantasy performers, we had Nico Heisman with 67 and a crazy game from him. He played so well against the Panthers. Nathan Cleary with 65. And Blake Brayley with 59. And in this one, who would have thought, Who would have thought? The Rabbits beating the Storm 24-12. Storm are now, 4 games in a row they've lost, and they're versing my poor old Wars at New Zealand next week. So I'm hoping the boys will stand up for that contest. Top 3 fantasy performers, we had Kalal Matangi with 71, Cam Murray with 67, and Damien Cook was 64. First game on New Sunday, we had the Bulldogs beating the Titans 36-26. Top 3 fantasy performers, we had Matty Burton with 83, a couple of tries next to his name. Josh Addo-Carr with 83 tries. And then Jeremy Marshall-King with 73. Last game of the weekend, probably most controversial game of the weekend, we had the Cowboys beating the Tigers 27-26. These sort of things only really happen to the bottom teams of the comp, and unfortunately, yeah, the Tigers got really dudded with this one. Top 3 fantasy performers, we had Dane Laurie with 98, had a crazy game in this game. We had Valentine Holmes with 76, and we had Jeremiah Nanai with 74. So moving on to my games over the weekend, we got wins in both head-to-head comps. Yellowstones, we 872 to 565, and in the game league we got 872 to 779. So we're sitting pretty in both of these comps. Better in the game league with third, fourth in the Yellowstone. YouTube league still sitting at the bottom. I am not going crazy good this year at all. I already know my year's not been great, but you know, it is what it is. This is a game, man. Like, in this to have fun. As I said before, round 19 score was 872. Overall score, 14,737. Overall rank, staying at that 19,000. Didn't have a good week this week, as we're about to run through, especially with some of the names we got in our squad. Round 19 rank with 26,000, so obviously a couple of boys had some really big scores. Overall, we got no trades remaining. There should be another 4 trades coming next week. 25k left in our salary cap. So, well, this week, actually, I think the trades come in. So, coming in this week. So we run through the team list and how we perform. We had James Tedesco with 88, a really good score from him. He played freaking amazing. We had Scotty Drinkwater with 23. Didn't have the best game yesterday, especially when I thought he was going to come out like gangbusters against the Tigers. Anyone that captained him coming into that game, I feel so sorry for you. But again, like, you know, Scotty, he'll be better for this. Like, you know, didn't have the best game. The Tigers just kind of had that edge over the top of the Cowboys for a lot of that game. Nico Heisman 67, a pretty good score in that like sort of low scoring game, but you know, the highest scores with a lower score, like, you know what I mean? 67 is pretty good. Tungo with a 40, he usually sticks around a 40. I don't see him dropping too far. Cooler was a killer with 20. Obviously didn't get too much, he didn't get too many opportunities, but you know, he'll be better for it next week. Adam Dewey with 34. He was my trade-in. So last week you probably would have saw I had Latrell and Paddy Carrigan. I switched everything around because I really wanted to put a little bit more strike in other places. I didn't really think Latrell was going to continue the form. He'll still be fucking amazing towards the end of the year. But I thought someone like Adam Dewey would have just done enough. Judging by the scores of both fantasies, there was only about 10 points difference, so it wasn't too much. But I expect more out of Dewey. I thought, you know, he had a good game yesterday without being great. You know, Jacko Hastings is like playing out of his skin at 13, so maybe that's what's taken a lot of points from him. And a lot of Brooksy had a lot of points too with the try assists and stuff like that. Nathan Cleary with the captain, 130, pretty good game from him. You know, he'll always really get around that. Tohu Harris with 52, really good scores from him. Dave Fafita was my other man I brought in, so 63 for him for coming back into my squad is pretty freaking good. Especially, you know, when you think Nathan Cleary hit around that, and he didn't really look crazy damaging, but he was just, you know, really, really good. Like, I thought Fafita tried really hard and got a nice little meaty there too. Cam Murray was a 67, Isaiah Papali'i was 70, Adam Elliott with a 53, all really good scores for our top front rowers there. And Harry Grant with a 54, even though he did not look like the normal Harry Grant out there. So he's gonna get some around those scores. Reed Marnie with a 34, not too good from him. I expect better. You know, I think that Broncos team just kind of ran over the top of the Eels. The Eels brought it back late, but it wasn't to be. Jason Tamalolo, 47. I thought he probably would have scored a little bit higher, judging by the look of him in that game. But then again, 47 might be, you know, right about where he's at. Aaron Booth didn't have the best second game ever, but I still thought he was very controlling. He brought a little bit of grub to the game too, which I really enjoyed. But, you know, hopefully he continues to grow in that spot because I think he's their hooker, and Aaron Clark is definitely got to be around that 13 role, that bench 14 to come into that 13 role with Tino. You know, I thought the Titans, at moments, they just drop away and then they just let a lot of tries in, and next minute they can just drag it all the way back. So it's hopefully the Titans team figure themselves out. And my other big bring in last week who got knocked out and looked like he might be out for the rest of the season is Kalen Pongan. This is what happens, as I said, this is what happens when you try to chase rank and points with head-to-head and ranking overall. I'm just trying to lift myself there, and you know, I made a decision that was very risky. Took out Averillo, brought in Kalen Ponga, and he is knocked out and he might be out for the rest of the season. So 2 is not great, but you know, it is what it is. We'll have to see what the team list bring out for the next couple of weeks. Maybe I trade him out. Yeah, we'll have to see how we go. Fidel with 5, Bollet with 23, Will Kennedy for me. I never understand why he doesn't score well in fantasy. I always feel like he's doing a lot on the field, but it could be just my eyes. Like, I feel like he's everywhere. Always getting his hands on the ball and that, but only a 21 score. So I don't know if a couple of errors had anything to do with that or whatever. Maybe he didn't get that many meters, but I don't know. I always think he's playing always really, really well. So yeah, overall, not the best week for me, especially on a week where I thought we are going to really grow in a ranking. Bringing in people like Cam Murray, who's going to be great for the end of the season. You know, I didn't think too many people could bring in Cam Murray as early, and I tried to, and it didn't really get all the way through. Shout out to one of the boys in the comments who shouted out that trade for me with Cam Murray and Adam Dewey to bring those boys in. Because I was trying to figure out different ways, because I really wanted to bring Fafita in this week. That was my big one. I had a feeling he was going to have a big game against the Bulldogs. He didn't really, but he still scored 63. So that's you know, good for me, I reckon. So yeah, coming into this week, we get 4 extra trades. It's just we're not in lockout at the moment when I'm recording, but we will be in lockout soon. These 4 trades, I'm going to use them more so for injuries and anything like that. Probably not anything to boost my team anymore. So at the moment, I feel like, you know, it's a good team on paper. It's not where I wanted to be by the end of the season. Obviously, like, looking back through the season, holding on to Adam Fanor-Blake when I did, you know, having Rocco Berry for as long as I did, a couple of things like that. You know, we didn't start the season the way I thought we were. There was a couple of players where I thought with the start of the season were going to be good, and then I took them out. I should have really stuck with them, like a Ruben Cotter, like a Blake Brayley. These sort of boys, I feel like I should have stuck with them from the start of the season. But you know, it is what it is, and we all learn from it. We'll be better next season. As I said, fantasy video coming out, maybe this week or next week, or FPL fantasy, or maybe on the weekend. We'll have to see how we go. It's just been a crazy time at the moment. We should be moving in a house very shortly. Should be either this week or next week. So getting really excited. Yeah, you know, if you enjoy all this sort of stuff, like and subscribe. Thank you so much.